Babes Behind the Beats with Jess Bowen and Bowie J.
Well, hello there. It is Bowie Jane with Jess Bowen for Babes Behind the Beats. G'day, Jess Bowen.
Hello there, Bowie. I'm excited because we're doing our chin wag again for the first time in a while.
Yeah, we've been a little sloppy with that, but we're back, guys. And we have on the show today, we have Shiragirl, Gritty and Pink founder, singer-songwriter, entrepreneur, like all-round legend. So I'm looking forward to chatting to her.
Yes, I've known Shira for a long time too, from the Warped Tour days, of course. She had her own stage on Warped Tour, which is so badass. So she's going to tell us all about that, of course. But yeah, I mean, Bowie, I have to do a little bit. Our chin wag might be me venting right now to you because I wanted to tell you about my last 24 hours and how stressed I've been.
Yeah, please tell me about, because when you hopped on the mic today, just before we got on here, you were like, I am stressed.
Yeah, and I was like, I'll save it for the chin wag. But yeah, I mean, basically, it's all good things, of course. I've been super busy. The Somerset, we got back together. So all of yesterday, we were, filming some videos. And then throughout the day, getting ready for our music video. We shot a music video last night, which started at 8 p.m. and didn't end until 5 a.m. So
Oh my God.
that in it, yeah. And like, we're all older now, and we're like, this is way past our bedtime. Like when we were younger.
Just for people who might not realize, why are you shooting at that time? Is it so you get the night shot?
It was supposed to be a night shot, but I just assumed it would have been like, hey, the sun goes down at like what, 7:30? Can we get these night shots? Like, can we shoot everything else and just get the night shots? Maybe be done, wrapped by like midnight or 1 a.m. But no, didn't even start shooting until like 10:30.
Okay, why?
Because you just know how it goes when you get onto sets, right? It's like, okay, your call time's like 9 p.m., but then by the time everyone shows up and you're getting like hair, makeup, and everything set up, all the instruments, all the like getting the camera set up and all that. So first shot wasn't till like 10:30 p.m. But again, all good things, right? I'm so excited about this music video. I think it's gonna turn out great. It just happened to be something that kept me up until 5 or 6 this morning.
And this is the video to Street Lightning.
This is going to be the video for Street Lightning, and I won't give too much away, but we also had a technical difficulty with one of the props that we used in the video, and it was something that was rented that was going to cost us a lot of money because we sort of damaged this. So,
oh my God. So you rented something for the video.
Yes,
it got a little bit damaged, and then
it
you're
got
like,
damaged.
Oh, shit.
And so all of this morning was us running around LA trying to figure out how to get this fixed before we returned it so that we didn't have to pay all this money because we essentially we damaged this prop. Anyways,
God.
long story short for that, we think we figured it out. It's not going to cost as much as we thought. We have learned our lesson and will not do that again in the future. But then I am so busy. I have rehearsal today with another artist that I'm playing with, Noah Vaughn. And I love her to death, and I have to learn some new songs for her. So I had to take my drums from the music video shoot, obviously, last night, to the storage, to our rehearsal space that we're going to rehearse in tonight. I'm in there bringing my drums in, and Lauren is helping me, and we're getting the drums inside, and we had Pepe with us, and Pepe ran out the door really quickly. So we both went out to go grab him because we're like, don't run into the street or anything. And the door closes behind me and it literally locks. Like it just automatically locks.
Oh my God.
And keys are in there. Phone is in there. And then Lauren's phone is in my car and my car is locked, obviously.
Oh
so we have no phones on us. I don't even have my car keys for us to drive somewhere to try and get like help. So we're just like stranded in this building, and I open the door to outside and I'm just like calling around like, hello, anyone here? And a stranger on the street's like, you okay? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I need to use your cell phone. Because like we didn't have any cell phone to call anyone.
And what, they let you use it? Because that's unusual.
This guy was like really nice about it. He was like with his friend and we were like, we know this sounds really weird, but like we promise we're not going to steal your phone. You can follow us into this room where we need to make the phone call, because there was a room that had this piece of paper, like thank God, that had like these emergency phone numbers on them for this rehearsal space. And it was like, you call these numbers if you need anything, but 3 of the numbers didn't work. And thank God the last phone number I called, Doug, this guy Doug picked up, and I was like, thank you, Doug. You are
Shout
my
out to
savior.
Doug.
Shout out Doug. I don't know your last name at all, but thank you, Doug. Helped me out and was able to send someone to like let us into the room, but it took like an hour for the guy to get there, of course.
Oh God!
And
And also,
and
you
that-
had a looming podcast recording, so you were having
Literally,
to
yeah.
get back.
I had to get back to you, and I had no way to tell you that I was gonna possibly be missing it. I just was like, oh, I might just miss all of our recordings today because I don't
Yeah,
have my phone. I'm locked out, and I can't even tell you.
You know what? It's
So-
funny you say that because I hadn't heard from you this morning. Not that I would have necessarily, but I was like, I wonder if she's going to wake up in time for this podcast. And I thought, well, at least we got 2 in a row. So
Yeah, and then
I
that's
was
why
thinking
I thought,
you might not get there.
yeah,
That's a
no,
weird
I
thing.
literally texted you like when I got home. I was finally like, I didn't even say anything to you about like my whole day. I just texted you like a link to like one of our guests, and I was like, okay, this is who we have first. And then I got on with you, and I was like, I've just had the most stressful 24 hours of my life, I feel like.
Oh my God.
But
Yeah, that's
here we
crazy. So
are.
you got your keys back, you got everything back, and now you're on air, which is amazing. Thank God.
I made it. But
But
feel
you
a
have got a
little-
lot going on because you've got like you were playing in multiple bands, plus you've got your
Yeah.
own project. So that's what makes it so stressful.
Yeah, and of course I wouldn't trade it for the world, right? Like I'm so excited and happy to be doing all of this. It's just it's been a hectic few weeks, honestly, but the last 24 hours specifically, I was like, this is just one thing after another. Like getting
Oh
locked
my
out of
God.
that room and not having keys or phones on us and just being like like what do you do? I was in panic mode. I just wanted to sit down and cry.
Oh God. God, when it rains, it pours, doesn't it? Seriously.
It really does. But hey, again, what the moral of the story is everything always ends up working out. That's what I
It
need to always
does.
remember. Like, of course, like it's not like anything was that bad. Like
No.
at some point it would have been figured out that like I will get keys back, someone will let me into the room, whether that took hours or not. Like everyone survived, right? So moral of the story, everything is always going to be okay.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, well, I'm glad that all worked out. That's yeah, a stressful morning, that's for sure.
Yeah, thanks for letting me
hope-
vent. Thanks for letting me
Yeah.
vent on the chinwag.
that was
this
our chinwag.
The chinwag
breakdown.
was a therapy session for me. It was for me to just to tell everyone my problems out loud. So thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, we're like, oh, we need to bring the chinwags back because Jess is stressed.
I'm like, specifically, the chinwags are just going to be Jess's therapy sessions now.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, I love that. Well, anyway, I'm glad that all worked out. And so everyone stay on because we have Shiragirl coming up next. Hello, it is Bowie Jane with Jess Bowen on Babes Behind the Beats, and our special guest today is Shiragirl. Hooray!
What up?
Shira, I'm so excited to have you on the show today. You and I have known each other for a few years now.
Yes.
From the Warped Tour scene. I think we met on Warped Tour was the first time we met
Definitely.
each other, right?
For sure. You were touring with 303, and I believe there was a day where my drummer broke her last set of sticks. And I think we knew each other casually till then, but that's when we
Right.
really became homegirls. We said, and by any chance you got an extra set of sticks, because the venue was in the middle of nowhere, like Scranton, PA.
Yep.
And I remember going into your trailer. You had your custom Jess Bowen sticks, and you were so sweet about it. And then from then on, we were just homegirls.
I remember that day, and yeah, I came. We, like you said, we had known, I think, of each other and kind of like crossed paths, and then that
Yeah.
was like when we fully were like, let's be friends. And I was like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And watched you guys play that day, and you guys are amazing. And obviously, just to let everyone know, you have and had your own stage on Warped Tour, and it was the Shiragirl stage. Can you tell
Yes.
everyone a little bit about when and how this started, and just give us the history of it, because it's iconic. And you, just to mention to everyone, you had some acts like Joan Jett and Paramore playing on your stage. So I would love
Yep.
for you to give us a little bit of a background on how this all happened.
Sure. Well, I was on the tour back in the day, actually, with the Truth campaign as an MC, and I noticed there were absolutely no female musicians on stage. Literally not one. Like, there was one female singer, Tsunami Bomb, that year, But there were no women with instruments. And then like every now and then there'll be a local band on the Kevin Says side stage for a day, you know. But I didn't understand because I came up in the Brooklyn Riot Girl scene and I had all these friends in all girl bands, and so I knew they existed. People tried to tell me when I brought it up, oh, girls don't really play this kind of music, and I said no, false. So I met Kevin Lyman. He used to kind of party with all the sponsors back in his crazy days, and I just said, hey, why are there no girls on this tour, you know? And he just looked at me and he was like, you know, fuck, man. He's like, I try, I get the Donnas, they don't want to come back, they want more money. Like, he had a whole like kind of laundry list of defenses. But the thing is, I knew that he cared, and he did have 2 daughters, and I could tell, you know, he respected women. Most of the people running the show behind the scenes were women, as you know.
Right.
And so he saw something in me. He saw like I was just from the beginning on this crusade, you know, to just help diversify Warped Tour for women. So the following year, you know, we wanted to come back and set up some bands and a DJ. I had a DJ in my band, Bowie, actually, at the time. Yeah, and it was me and a DJ. It was like when I started out, it was kind of an electro punk thing. And we said, you know, let's take over the girls' garage tent and we will play music and then we'll host some bands. And he was like, great idea. Let's do it next year, because it was the 10th anniversary of the tour and they had a lot going on. And, you know, when you're like a kid, you're like, next year is next century, you know, like we couldn't wait. So we decided to crash the tour. We were touring in a pink RV. We had actually come to LA to record with Tim Armstrong, who I had met when Rancid was playing Warped the year before when I was on with Truth. And so we were in town. The tour was rolling through Fullerton, and we had this pink RV that we were living in on Silver Lake Boulevard while we recorded with Tim. And we just drove in like we owned it. I think we got our VIP passes, you know, from the Truth. And, you know, when you do the tour, Jess, like you get to know the people who run things. And so you just kind of like, we just rolled in, like act like you're supposed to be there, right? I still use this tactic to this day, right? To get into a show. Hey, yeah, we're on our way to production, pick up the credentials. So we roll in, we park across from the skate ramp next to the Truth truck. And we set up a little like, you know, ghetto PA, and the doors open and the girls came running because they saw this pink RV. They're like, what is this? We even had merch. We had like skirts and, you know,
oh my God, that's great.
And there really wasn't anything like it. But the thing is, even though like it was all dudes on stage, the crowd was still half women, you know, half girls and females. So like, you know, they wanted to see themselves reflected on stage. I think that a lot of them honestly didn't know. People told me later, I didn't know I could be in a band. Like seriously, the girls are so young. A lot of them from the Midwest, you know, they don't know. So Kevin walks by. We're like holding our breath. You're like, oh God, we're going to get kicked out. And he's like, Shira, you know, and he kind of looks around, looks up and around. And he said, okay. He's like, so you on for the rest of the tour? So I thought it was kind of both like, it was an invitation and a challenge. You know what I mean? Because it was like, okay, you think you're so tough. This ain't an easy tour. Like, let's see how far you get. And we did. We followed the tour that year all the way from Cali to New York.
Wow.
When the tour rolled into New York, I said, listen, Kevin, I have some friends in bands. Because I always, you know, my band, we performed. It was so fun. Like I would climb up on top of the RV. I had a wireless mic. You know, we did all kinds of crazy things. But I always just had this bigger vision for like this movement. You know, I just always felt like it wasn't just about me. And, you know, managers and people in the industry have told me like, oh, you know, you'd be a lot farther if you just focused on your own career. But I was like, no, this is about the girls getting together and helping each other. And that's why I love what you guys do. So when we rolled to New York, I said, I want to bring in some friends, girl bands. And Kevin said, okay, if you could make it happen, I'll let it happen. That was kind of his whole thing. Like, you know, like, and somehow I got like a huge sound company to sponsor us. And this guy Bubbles, who used to do sound for CBs and, you know, CBGB, used to do sound for Blondie back in the day and like loved what we were doing. And, you know, donated his time, poor guy, like on Randall's Island, like, you know, Randall's Island, like it's literally like hell, like dust and everything, you know. But we did it. I brought in my friends' bands and it was awesome. And we had huge crowds. You know, we were just set up in front of the RV, like on the ground. And we would get huge crowds, and it, you know, then they would line up for autographs and everything after, and people were stoked about it. So after that year, you know, we kind of proved ourselves, and Kevin said, okay, let's do this, you know, officially. I'm going to introduce you to my team. They'll help you with sponsorship. We will help subsidize, you know, gas money. We'll pay the crew. And so, yeah, the next year was 2005. That was the first official year of the stage.
Hello, Jess. Guess what? I am going paleo. Because
What? Are you really?
Yeah, because I need to be like trim, taut, and terrific, and I actually just need to bloody get healthy. And you know how like you go to the supermarket and it's a pain. You know, you got to look up a recipe and blah blah blah. So I thought now's the time to move to Green Chef. And Green Chef are owned by HelloFresh, which we've done before and we love.
Oh, yeah.
But Green Chef has paleo options.
They do have paleo options. I've seen that. They also, what excites me about them is they have vegetarian options. And as you know, Lauren, my fiance, is vegetarian and we eat mostly vegetarian. I'm not personally vegetarian, but I will eat vegetarian meals with her. And they have amazing vegetarian meals.
Yeah, and it's all organic and just like immune boosting food. So good. It's really, that's what makes it different.
Yeah, and because Green Chef's expert chefs, they design these flavorful meals that go like way beyond the ordinary, no matter what's on the menu. And for instance, we just recently had the linguine with basil pesto, which was
Ooh.
kale, fennel, peas, roasted red peppers, toasted pine nuts, and it was absolutely delicious.
And I bet it was easy to cook because I cooked the Parmesan crusted chicken super easy.
So easy. It's amazing. And yeah, so what's great about this is that our listeners, you can go to greenchef.com/beats100 and use code beats100 to get $100 off, including free shipping. How amazing is that, Bowie?
Oh my God. Yeah, the free shipping, because that always adds on an extra cost. So this is a really good deal. And they've got options for keto, paleo, plant-powered diets, like a whole, they really have a really unique spot in the market. So you've definitely got to get on board with Green Chef.
Absolutely. It's the #1 meal kit for eating well. So go get on it, everyone.
And we were trying to scramble to like get together, you know, the sponsorship money because we wanted to build, you know, on the tour, there's this Ernie Ball stage, which is like essentially like a flatbed truck that like one of the sides rolls down to become a mobile stage.
Yeah.
So we're like, we're going to make like a pink, you know, Ernie Ball type stage. And we had our eye on this like used Avis rental truck. You know, we were literally like going to make it ourselves. That we were set out. We had some friends, you know, in construction that were going to help us. We had this whole plan. And we just needed like, I don't know, 11 G's to buy the truck or something, you know? And so then we got an email from Kevin introducing us to someone from Atlantic Records. Hey, we have this new band called Paramore. They're like the Female Thursday. And, you know, we really want to get them on Warped Tour. And Kevin said, all my stages are filled up. You should talk to Shira. She's doing this girl stage. Okay. So, and I didn't know, you know, I had no idea what we were getting into. He's like, she's great. I had her on Taste of Chaos, do acoustic. So they had, you know, and they were signed to Fueled by Ramen, but that was essentially Atlantic Records. So I had a meeting with Julie Greenwald in Atlantic Records. And I went up to the office in New York and, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. And I had interned for a record label for Jive back in the day. And I called up, you know, my old boss. I told her, like, what do I do? She's like, make the label, back when labels had money. She said, make the label fly you down to see the band. I said, okay, because literally, this is going to sound strange, but they sent me, you know, a CD back when we would send CDs. They sent me a CD of the song. They prepped me by saying it was the Female Thursday. So I thought it was going to be a screamo band. And our whole vision was to show that, you know, women can rock as hard as the dudes can. So we really wanted like, just like, you know, aggressive, like hardcore punk rock, like metal. Like we didn't want any like singer-songwriter stuff, you know? And she like, they sent me this song, Here We Go Again. And it sounded like Avril Lavigne. There was no screaming in it. And I was like, I was just confused. Cause you know, again, at the time, like looking back, obviously I should have put 2 and 2 together. Like, okay, they're backed by Atlantic, you know, they're going places. But like, I was just, I don't know. I was playing hard to get, I guess. Like my, you know, my old boss was like, oh yeah, make them fly you down. So they fly me down. They fly me and my partner down to Orlando to see Paramore in back booth. Haley's like 15 at the time. I'm like chilling with her mom. Her mom was like next to me with the camcorder. And as soon as I saw the band, I got it because like they kicked ass, you know, like they freaking kicked ass. Like they were flipping over each other and the crowd was so into it. And I was like, okay, this is going to be dope. You know, of course you guys can play our stage. And also at the time we had already like had the stage booked because we were partnered with MySpace at the time. And we already had booked like, we were crazy about it. We wanted like as many artists as possible to be part of it. So rather than like being smart and being like, oh, let's pick 7 bands and take them on the tour. You know, we're like, we're going to have 8 different bands every day, you know? And we did this like talent search through MySpace. They were like a partner. So we literally didn't have like the room to like put them on the whole tour. They wanted to be on the tour. Kevin's like, you can only have a max of 7 bands per day or whatever it was. So, so we're like, okay, let's get them on the tour. I will say though, like we really wanted to talk to Haley and like kind of get her behind our girl power mission, which these days she's part of. But when she was young, I mean, she was very like sheltered, for lack of a better word. She had this team of, 10 managers surrounding her. We couldn't even get close to her. She was shuffled into the van after the show. Like we couldn't even say hi. I think maybe we had like a very awkward, like, hey, nice to meet you, but like we wanted to connect with her and be like, okay, we're doing this thing, talk about our mission, and they were not having it. So we went ahead and we had them, and they were like, we're going to help you get sponsorship from Dickie's Girl. And they had this whole like, sponsor team out of Atlantic Records. And I said, okay, sounds great, and then the last minute Dickie's Girl pulled out because they're actually like a very conservative company, or at least they were at the time. And they weren't sure about, sponsoring a bunch of female punk rockers. So the label actually ended up like sponsoring us, Warner Brothers. So, like I remember still to this day, that when fax machines were still alive. I remember like the fax coming out of the fax machine with our contract from Warner Brothers, and I was like, oh, we made it. And so, yeah, that was the story of Paramore. They came on the tour. It was their first tour ever. It was right when their first record released. They were amazing. They had huge crowds, Fueled by Ramen backed them all the way. So, they had a lot of obviously like promotion behind them, and, but they really just killed it. They did a prayer circle before they went on stage every day. Her dad was the van driver. She wore the same t-shirt every single day. She was really sweet,
Wow.
but like they would come. It wasn't your typical Warped tour. Cause Jess, when we do Warped, you do overnight drives, right? No, they didn't do that. The label said we want a slot between like, 1 and 2 or whatever, and we're gonna play, we're gonna do our signing, and then we're gonna get in the van and drive to the next city, and we're getting them a hotel room. So okay,
Wow.
so yeah, so they did that, and again, Haley was like very sweet. I think one day, this was back when we were so punk rock. We used to have the bands show up in the morning and help like load in because we were so DIY, and and like literally we built this stage with like a sawzall and like cranked down the side. It was crazy. And so one day, like one of our bass amps blew up, and this is kind of funny, Jess, because it's the whole spirit of Warped Tour. Like as we met, is like helping each other out on the road, right? Family.
Yep.
And so we needed a bass amp, and so we were asking Jeremy, who was their bassist at the time, hey, or I think we went through, the tour manager, can we share your bass amp today? Ours is, getting fixed or whatever. And they were not all about it. Like they did not get it. I don't know, remember in the end if they let us use it or not, but you know what I mean? The mentality was they were definitely just like in their own like world, and it wasn't really their fault. That was like by design, the parents and the label and like, management and stuff. But I will say, they killed it. And the next year when we came back, Haley was totally different because she had toured to Japan, and now she discovered fashion, and, she was 17 instead of 16. And she was so sweet, like I would see her backstage and she was like, oh, hey, Shira, and very down to earth, so she was, this was before Riot, but it was like when they were starting to pop off. So,
wow. I mean, God, what a fantastic thing to have her on your stage. And then it ends up, you've had Joan Jett as well. Is that right?
Yeah, so the following year, Joan Jett was on the main stage, and she used to ride her bike over to our stage every single day and watch the girl bands. I think she was scouting, for her label, Blackheart. And she was so supportive. Yeah, and she also just took our band like completely under her wing, their whole crew. Like we used to go on, the tour bus, smoke joints in the back. Like they just really became our family on the road. We had the whole New York connection too, because we were both from, New York. And so we spoke the same language,
Actually, speaking of her scouting bands, didn't she scout Tatiana De Maria from Warped Tour? Is that right, Jess? Didn't Tatiana tell us that?
I believe so, yeah. I believe that was something that Tatiana mentioned in one of our episodes too, which I'm sure, Shira, did you talk to Tat about that, I'm sure, because you and Tat are close too. Yeah,
we had Tat on 2006. Yeah,
and on your stage as well. Yeah,
on my stage. That's a whole other story. But maybe she already told you. But yeah, I met her through my producer in London, and yeah, basically brought her to the States, brought her to Warped Tour. It took 2 years. She couldn't make it to 05. But yeah, and also the Dolly Rots, they actually got signed to Blackheart after that tour.
Oh, the Dolly Rots did. Oh shit. Okay.
From that, and then but Tatiana never signed to Blackheart. But
no,
but yeah,
she
I'm
never
sure
did. Yeah,
had talked. But same with me. Like my band was also in talks to sign with them. But they're a very small label and they're great at what they do. It's a vehicle for Joan, and we actually are going to be partnering with them for Gritty and Pink, so we can talk about that a little later. But they're still fam to this day. We go to the Joan shows and hang out, and we love and know her crew. And so essentially, what happened was the last day of that tour, 2006, we were in Cleveland, and Kenny, her manager, just said, "Okay, today's the day, Shira." And I thought they were going to bring me up on stage with her on because we were talking about it the whole summer. Oh, we got to do a collab, and I have to also mention that halfway through that tour, half my band quit.
What?
My drummer, my drummer who and my guitarist, who were really super young, quit halfway through the tour. Yeah, and I was like so upset about it, and like I was bummed because
couldn't do the Warped Tour thing. Yeah, they couldn't do it.
It's a hard tour.
It's it's grueling.
Yeah, and so I was super upset because, as much as I love running the stage, it's like, my why is like, I'm a performer. I love to perform, and it's like, now I can't even perform. I'm putting everyone else on, but like, I can't do what I love to do best. And, people were cool. Like Tat's drummer was like, I'll fill in whatever you need. I'll play for you. And one of my other friends was like, I'll fly out. But, I was really bummed, and I got a knock on my RV door and opened it up, and there's Joan Jett. Can I come in? Yes. So Joan comes in and sits on my couch and just like looks at me into my soul, like looking in her eyes, and she said, "Listen, girls like that make girls like us look bad, and you have to keep going. You're doing a good thing, and you got to keep doing what you're doing." And I just thought, well, shit, I got to keep going because Joan Jett just motherfucking told me to.
Yeah, if Joan Jett told you, then you have to.
Sorry, can I curse on the show?
Absolutely, yes.
Fuck yeah.
Rock and roll, baby.
So she was, she helped me honestly get through that tour because it was not an easy tour. And, we did end up having another guitarist, one of our friends, fly out and finish the tour. But, and we had actually, before the tour, we had opened up for her. She had invited us to open up for her and everything. So she was very familiar with our band. And, so the very last day, so Kevin knew about it. Kenny comes up to me and he said, "Okay, we're going to come onto your stage." He said, "Here's what's going to happen. You guys are going to play Bad Reputation. Joan's going to sing backups and play guitar, and you're singing lead." I was like, oh my God. We find out about this like the morning of, Warped Tour, right? There's no, it's all throw and go. There's no like prep. So we're like, okay. So the band's all like, figuring out how to play. I remember so clearly being on the side of the stage before we went on, and like I felt like I was in the Runaways. We were rehearsing, like before we went on. I was like, oh my God, this is so surreal. And we went on and performed. Kevin was in the audience, they were all there, and it was freaking awesome. And that's like one of the highlights of my music career that I will never forget.
So Shira, you mentioned Gritty and Pink. Can you tell our listeners all about it?
Absolutely. So Gritty and Pink is a new platform to empower women in music. And, when we did the Warped Tour, we had this vision of creating a Gritty and Pink tour. That was sort of the original vision. And then we brought it back in January 2020 as a monthly event in LA. Jess was at the first one. It was at the Satellite.
Yep.
It was an epic all-girl jam of over 40 of LA's hottest female musicians. And we had Eva Gardner, bassist for Pink. I mean, it was such a magical night. People said we were really filling a void in the LA scene. We had an all-female lineup, all-star lineup. And we did 3 magical months. And then, of course, COVID hit. So we decided to do an Instagram live stream. And the first night, 600 people showed up. And we were like, wow, we're onto something. So we turned it into a weekly IG Live fundraiser for different charities. Ended up raising thousands of dollars for different charities. Super proud of that. And we created a private network, an online network for our artists. So we've now featured over 200 female artists with like a collective following of 4 million on Instagram, 7 million on TikTok. So a lot of up and coming, emerging, like next big thing artists. And our next sort of era is we are creating a marketplace for women who work in all aspects of the music industry and industry pros of any gender that want to hire women. So
I love that.
That's the new thing. Yeah, thank you.
I was just going to say, I love that so much. And I feel like that is so in line with what Bowie and I believe in, with especially doing this show, is like we want to feature and showcase women that are just doing all jobs in the industry, right? Because obviously it's like, yeah, like we're artists and we're on stage, but there are so many women behind the scenes that are making these shows and these events and these festivals happen. And they need to be showcased as well. They need a platform. And so you're giving them this platform now to, so basically, is it like an app, or is it just like a website that people can go to and find women that are like what, audio engineers, techs, drum techs, guitar techs, all that stuff?
All different categories: business, marketing, design. Yes, session work, lessons. Yes. So we're building our beta right now. Thank you. So think of it kind of as a Fiverr for women in the music industry, if you're familiar with Fiverr.
Oh, yeah, Fiverr, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. When's that all going to be happening?
So we've built out the prototype, and we are just about to onboard our beta group. And then it's kind of this whole process, but we are in talks with some investors. So we're going to raise a pre-seed round to really build out our custom dream platform. Right now we have kind of what we call in the tech world an MVP, minimum viable product, which I'm new to this whole thing. Like, I'm a punk rocker. I woke up one day, I'm like, okay, I'm a tech entrepreneur now. Let's do this. But yeah, it's a whole journey. I mean, and it's amazing. I have a whole team. I don't do it all by myself. I could never, but yeah, really our next step is getting investors, getting funded, and then, building out this beta group, and also onboarding strategic partners so that, we have the supply, and now we need to beef up the demand. And we know, these days everyone wants to, have inclusion and diversity in their hiring practices. And so we feel it's a very timely platform, but yeah, just getting it all together and launching it, it's a whole nother beast. So
is it also going to be for musicians then? It's also like if you wanted to hire a female drummer, female bass player, female guitarist, are they involved in it as well? Or is this more of the like business side or
it's
backstage?
all things. Yeah. So
all things.
So
okay.
Musicians too. Yeah. What we're kind of considering right now is starting mostly with remote services because it's a little easier to scale. One of our investors kind of recommended, to start with more remote services because, of course, I'm all about building it in LA because, we have this amazing community already. They're already hiring each other and working with each other for different shows. And, so we will have local services too. So that's what we're calling, kind of localized services because you have to be in the same location. But, the vision is to have this big, like, global platform. So, yeah, so it's going to be crazy. And I'm like, bring it because, I've just been trying to figure out how to achieve gender equity and equality in this industry for a while now. And we've gone down a few different paths. Obviously with COVID, the tour thing, it's not the time for that. Kevin Lyman is our advisor, very grateful for that. And we talked about probably going to do a college tour to start. But now like the tour, rather than being our whole business model, is sort of going to be part of our ongoing marketing plan, so it's like framing things a different way. But, going after sponsorship, I mean, I've done it for years. It's very tedious and it's really not scalable. Because, if the person that you have a relationship with leaves the company or if the company's budget gets chopped the next year, it's not like recurring. So it's so much work to get a sponsorship. I mean, and I'm so grateful for all the sponsors Gritty's had. We've worked with Mackie, who I'm recording on their mic right now. They're amazing.
I'm using
Monster
their headphones
Energy.
right now. Yeah.
Yes, we love Mackie. Shout out to Rob and the Mackie crew. Monster Energy has been supportive. We've worked with Weed Maps. When we first launched, Sailor Jerry sponsored us for the event. So, we love our sponsors, but if for anyone who's ever gone after sponsorship, it's a lot of work. So, we really kind of set out to find this like sustainable business model that would help women in the best way possible. And we just figured, the best way to help women in this industry is to put money in their pocket, get them gigs, get them paid. So that's what we're doing.
And Shira, I have one more question for you. Talking about all of this, like getting the sponsorships, and clearly you're like such an amazing business like person. You've created all of this on your own. did you like go to school? What did you study? Did you study like
Yes.
business in school?
I did. Well, I studied communications at UPenn. I did take some business classes at Wharton.
Okay.
But I minored in theater arts. So I was always like a performer and never really set out to be like a businesswoman, but it was just kind of in my blood, you know.
But it clearly helps because like with everything that you're doing, it's so entrepreneurial and it helps that you have that education in it. You know?
Yes,
because
yes. Well, you know what else? I spent many years in the beverage industry too. If you remember, I used to work for PBR. We throw all the Warped Tour after parties.
Right.
So I did marketing and sales in the beverage industry, and I worked for some startups like Bev and Al's Brew. And so that also kind of showed me a different side of building a brand and, you know, the whole game of getting investors. And so that was my business school pretty much, was working in the beverage industry, which beverage and music are, you know, have always been in bed together. But whenever I would throw a music festival for Pabst, or I'd sponsor a festival, I'd fly out and I'd be standing on the side of stage. And you know that feeling, Jess, of like, or Bowie, I'm sure you know too, you just want to be on stage, right? Like you're
Absolutely.
like, you know, so I knew like, I was like, I can't do this beverage thing forever because it's not my passion. And I just felt like, you know, there was something, you know, deep inside. And then now I found this bigger purpose, and I've just been on this crusade for women in music. So, I mean, if I can both be a performer and help like all women in the industry, I mean, that's like absolutely my dream.
And speaking of being a performer, Shira, I do have to just highlight right now that Shiragirl has put out a new video, a new single, Anti-Social Media, right? And can you tell us a little bit about this?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Actually, I have to say, Kevin Lyman's told me this is my best song I've ever done, which, you know, for someone that I've known for so long, I was like, that means a lot, you know. But I do feel, you know, when you put something out you're like super proud of, and you're like, this is the best thing I've ever done. It's such a good feeling because sometimes it's hard to get over that one song you love that you did years ago.
Yeah.
Anti-social media, you know, it's about both poking fun and critiquing our social media driven culture. And of course, over the pandemic, it's all we had. It kept us connected, but it also kept us addicted and obsessed. And, you know, it can be really hard. I'm sure that you guys probably have seen Social Dilemma, and there are a lot of negative effects of social media addiction as well. And so we wanted to just kind of draw attention to that and make fun of it. So super stoked on the single. And it's not only is our first release in 2 years, but it's also our first release with our new lineup. So yeah, super dope. Obviously, you know, Rainy P, she's a longtime drummer. And now we have Constance Antoinette on guitar. We have Alex Nicole Windsor on bass. I feel like it's an all-star team. And
it's a great
video.
lineup.
We really set out to have a female directed video because, you know, we want to practice what we preach with Gritty, right? Hire women. So that was a whole, even finding like the great like female director, like that was a mission in itself, you know. Hopefully, you know, next time you girls can use Gritty and Pink to find them, you know, make it a little easier.
Exactly.
Because they're out there, but it took a lot of sliding into DMs and asking who people know. And, you know, but Heather Ballish is amazing. She directed the video. We worked for weeks on making sure that the concept really matched the message and what we were trying to get across. So there's this contrast of like the glossy world, which is the social media kind of fake, happy, colorful, everything's peachy world, you know, the highlight reel everyone shows on Instagram. Look how perfect my life is. And then there's this grim world, which kind of resembles an insane asylum. That's where the band's playing. And it's like showing, you know, social media just like driving us crazy. You see Rain kind of like rocking, like she's watching her phone, and then it flashes back and forth between her and a straitjacket, you know?
Yeah,
so it's like, yeah, it's a strong statement, and I'm super proud of it. And yeah, go stream Anti-Social Media and watch the video.
God, I love it. I love it so much. And yeah, it is so good. Everyone go check it out. Also, for everyone who's listening, Shira, if you want to give us your social media handles plus the Gritty and Pink handles, you know, it's all pretty straightforward, but if you want to just say it for everyone, then we can tag you so that everyone can follow all these amazing things that you've been doing.
Absolutely. We are Shiragirl on most socials, SHIRAGIRL. Except Instagram, we got the old underscore. So Shira_girl on Instagram, SHIRA_GIRL. And Gritty is Gritty in Pink Life on just about everything, except for we did start a new TikTok, and that's just Gritty in Pink. So yeah.
Gotta love the TikTok.
Yeah, GrittyInPinkLife. Gritty in Pink Life. I don't know. Sometimes people think I say pretty in pink, and I'm like, no, it's a play on that. But you know, like, and I have a necklace. Also, I have a necklace that says Gritty. And sometimes when I introduce myself, like at a party, people will be like, I say, oh, I'm Shira, and they kind of like squint at my necklace. They're like, what's your name? What? Gritty? No. So.
Gritty? Oh, man. Well, Shira, thank you so much for joining us. Bowie and I just love everything that you do for our community and for, just empowering women in the industry. I still think things are getting better, but there's still, like you said, even for you guys for this new music video, it was even a little bit of a challenge maybe to find a female director for the music video. I just think it's great for all of us to just come together and just empower each other, so really love everything that you're doing. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for having me on the show. And I love what you guys are doing. I mean, Babes Behind the Beat, it's brilliant. I absolutely love what you guys are doing. And yeah, I'm all for more collab down the line. Let's do it. We need a Gritty and Pink Babes Behind the Beat collab.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get on that ASAP. So we'll be doing that soon, and everyone keep an eye out for that. But Shira, thank you so much again, and we will definitely chat soon. I can't wait to see you again.
Yes, thank you guys so much.